Tammy here. I want to talk to you today about intermittent fasting. Now this is something that has been kind of popular and you may have some questions about it, maybe you've heard about it, or maybe you just don't know why people are doing this, why it matters. It's just calories in, calories out, doesn't matter what time you eat them. So I want to make this video today to kind of go over and explain what intermittent fasting is, why people are doing it, and what's the basics behind it. Now, to start from the very beginning, the reason that intermittent fasting kind of started is because that is how our ancestors ate for hundreds of thousands of years, right? Feast and famine. They didn't always have food available 24/7 like we do now. Now we can go to grocery stores, fast food. It's always available whenever we want it. They did not have that back then. Maybe our bodies are not adapted to all this food constantly all the time. Okay? Intermittent fasting really looks at insulin. Okay, and maybe you're thinking insulin just has to do with diabetes. What does this have to do with anything? But really, insulin is so huge when it comes to fat gain and fat loss. It's unreal that it is not more talked about. And then when I started learning about this, you learn how important it is. Okay, and the reason for that is because we know when we eat food, especially carb, sugary food, it spikes our blood sugar. And then we know insulin comes in and it lowers the blood sugar by forcing the sugar into the cells. So insulin is a storage hormone, meaning when insulin is high in your blood, you are storing, okay? So if your insulin is high, you are not burning fat. It will not break down fat because it's in storage mode. All right, so let me get this. Insulin is high in your body. You cannot burn fat. Okay, so that is why people are doing intermittent fasting. It is a way to lower your insulin levels, keep it low since you're not eating, and allow your body to use fat as fuel and break down your fat. Okay, now there's a couple questions with this, and that is something that I kind of struggled with at the beginning, is because I was someone that was always eating. I was always eating every 2 to 3 hours because I thought that kept my metabolism high, that was good for me. I was supposed to be a grazer. But when you think about it, all that does is keep your insulin high all day long when you're constantly eating, right? So then when does my body really have time to go through all the food in my system, the quick storage in the cells, and then go to fat? It doesn't have time to. So that's what this does. Another thing that I was concerned about, and maybe you are as well, is if I don't eat food, it's going to eat my muscles. Now this was something that I was told and I believed, but when you really think about it, okay, like your body makes fat because it is storing excess calories for later use. Okay, it is stored energy. Okay, and if our bodies, when it wasn't eating and didn't have instant food in our system, if it attacked our muscles, our ancestors during their feast and famine time, it would have just eaten all their muscles and they just would have been a blob of fat. It doesn't make sense, okay? Your body stores the fat for fuel, so why wouldn't it use that? Why would it attack your precious muscle that your body needs to survive? All right? So that was debunked, so was eating all the time. It doesn't help, okay? Because you do not want your insulin constantly high because you don't want to always be in storage mode, right? So the best way to think about it is like a fridge and a freezer. It's not strictly just calories in, calories out, okay? Because it doesn't take into account storage, all right? So you go grocery shopping, you eat a meal, That's the immediate stuff in your system, okay? What you don't eat right then and use right then, you put in the fridge for use, easy use. That is when insulin pushes the glucose into the cells, and the cells stores glucose as glycogen, and that is for immediate use. So when you're not currently eating, you don't have sugar in your bloodstream for energy, it goes to the cells and it takes that glycogen out, okay? So it goes to the fridge, it takes food out of the fridge. It's not gonna go to the freezer because there's food in the fridge for immediate use, all right? Now, when the fridge empties, then it will go to the freezer, and the freezer is the stored fat, okay? But like I said, it's not gonna go to the freezer when there's food in the fridge. If there's food in your system, and there's calories and energy and glucose in your system, it's not gonna go to fat. It'll use what's easily, readily available right now. Remember, insulin's high, you can't access that fat. So you do fasting. Now there are a lot of different time frames for fasting. If you're doing it to lose a ton of weight, if you're overweight, if you are struggling with diabetes, there are a lot longer fasts that you can do. But intermittent fasting is what is popular right now, and that's what I want to talk about. So there are a few different lengths of time that you can fast and get different benefits. So with my clients, I always suggest at least 12 hours every day that you are fasting. Okay, what that means is if you eat dinner at 8 o'clock at night, then you don't eat anything until 8 a.m. the next day. Okay, that 12 hours allows your body to use everything in your bloodstream and make sure that it's emptied, okay? Then there's also the 16-8 fast, which is the most popular for intermittent fasting, and that is 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating. Now this is the easiest, the most popular, because basically you just skip your breakfast. So you eat at 8 o'clock at night, you don't eat again till noon the next day, and then you could eat from noon to 8, right? And that gives you that extra 4 hours past the 12 hours that your body is utilizing that fat storage, all right? So there is also more, like a 20-hour fast and a 4-hour eating. There's even people that just do 1 meal a day. Now that's not for me, and that probably isn't for most people. I like my food, and I am working up to it. Now this is another thing. Work up to it. Don't think you automatically have to jump in doing 20 hours of fasting. This is something that I started off doing 12 hours and gradually increased that. Some people think that if they're fasting, that means that during their feeding hours, they can eat whatever they want, and that is not true. You have to continue eating healthy during that feeding window, all right? So that's kind of the breakdown of intermittent fasting and why people are doing it, what's the basics behind it, how that benefits you, and basically what it is it's allowing your body time to use all the fuel from your food and then go to your fat.